Yeah. Yeah, we're not to see that. I was at the cafe ready to go and did everything there.
You guys ready? All right, we'll call our city commission meeting to order at 7 PM, October 20th, 2025. We've got a full board, a quorum with Kyle, Jaden, myself present, and then Stephen I see is joined remotely via Teams, so we can move right into the agenda. So let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, guys, first up, we got the minutes for October 6th, 2025. That was a regular commission meeting. If you've had a chance to look at them and everything looks accurate, we'll need a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as posted.
I'll second.
All right, we got a motion and a second to approve the minutes as written from October 6th. We'll move to a vote.
Yes.
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 Okay, motion carries. Thanks, Stephen. All right, commissioners report. Kyle, go ahead.
In regards to my end of things have been pretty light. I know the city guys, they've been, street sweeping, been trying to get ready for winter, cause that is around the corner. Other than that, that's all I got. Thanks.
For me, we won't see, much for this meeting, but possibly the next meeting, we'll see a few things come through. We're kind of looking at different ways we can, improve our payroll process. And as well as, setting a holiday schedule and what the holidays are gonna look like, toward the end of the year. So probably see some of that stuff at the next meeting, but other than that, that's all I got.
Okay, Stephen, do you have anything?
I don't have anything at this time. Thank you.
All right, for me, well, and Kyle too, we've been actively engaged in vetting candidates for the chief of police position. We're gonna talk about that a little later on in old business. That's been very time consuming. It kind of goes without saying that we have put in loads of thought into this. I think it's weighing on the both of us and probably all of us, and we wanted to get to some finality. So again, we'll talk about that later on tonight. Last Friday, we were shorthanded at the community center and I got to work the full shift down there. And I can tell you that was an absolute blast. I enjoyed it thoroughly. Obviously, I wasn't doing nearly as much as Joy was probably doing and kind of going through the motions, but for how awesome the people were to me, helping me navigate through the day and just the noises that place made. We got a lot of usage. It really made me sit back and realize like that's a good job. And we do have a part-time spot and a full-time spot open down there. And the job postings are still active, correct, Wendy? So if you know of anybody that would be interested in doing that, part-time or full-time, send them our way. Like I said, I loved it. I had a blast. I really hope we get some candidates in that would want to do that as well. Dan, you could probably help me a little bit on this. We did have an inquiry from the landowner where our city sign is out on Highway 40 and 2 about potentially relocating that. Still very early in the talks from my understanding, but it sounds like they do want us to move it to pave way to build something there. So doesn't sound like it's gonna move very far, but just a little bit. Again, very early on in the talks, but it sounds like that's something on the horizon.
That's something that he'll be emailing me or us with, on their proposal, on where they want to put it, but verbally,
It sounds it's very minor. Obviously, I don't know the details, costs or if they're gonna pay for it or if we're gonna, I mean, I don't know. I don't know any details. But we'll find out in a week or two.
It really is impeccable timing because we've been trying to get a hold of the landowner to repair the electrical line going out to the sun or the lights for the signs and the flagpole. And I know Judy, you've put in work on acquiring a new flagpole and flag, so thank goodness we didn't get that thing up before they decided to move it on us, so. Winter's,
That 3 mile corner.
it is, yep.
My brother-in-law's one that let him do that when he had that land. It's too bad they let him put it right in the middle of that lot. Because it's not really a good location. If somebody wanted to build it.
At that time, Bob, though, the state wouldn't let us put it any closer to that.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah, unless things have changed now. Back then, it's closer to that.
Sure seems like there's a lot of signs everywhere else on the line. Can't go.
Yeah.
Anyway,
That's true.
that's all I got to say about that.
The steep owns a corner of that. That's clipped corner on both sides. Yes.
Yeah, it's-
75 feet.
The staging area,
75 feet.
it's more than that.
Yeah, if you,
It's in that corner. It's a staging area for the highway.
if you look at the aerial view of it, it looks like it's already really close to the property line and it just kind of sounds like they want to scoot it even a little closer, so we'll see how that all shakes out. And then lastly, I don't know how many people worked outside today, but it was brutal. I think winter is here. And we have got a project that we've been trying to get accomplished for the entire summer. It would have been a lot better to get that lagoon cleaned up, get our repairs made for the aeration system, and we have got to get chomping on that. So, Stephen, if you need any help with that, I know myself, Kyle, Jaden, we'll all tag team that, but we're gonna need quotes freshened up. We're gonna need some guidance on where to remove the sludge, where to take it to, the proper to disposal, and then get the crew from, I believe it was Fargo, right, Kyle? Somewhere out east, get them out here and get that taken care of, because like I said, I felt winter today. And I can about imagine what it's gonna feel like when they're making those repairs at the lagoon, so we gotta get on that. And that is it for me.
Okay, I'll try to get a hold of them again.
Yeah, if you don't have any luck, just lean on us. We'll hit them from all angles. All right, that's it for us. Modifications or approval of the agenda. I do have one ask. We've got old business number 5, the open position for chief of police. I got a pretty strong feeling we're gonna have a lot of communication and discussion on that. I would like to shove that to the end of old business, so maybe flip-flop 5 and 7. Put the airport board advertisement at 5, put the chief of police open position at 7. That way, if anybody has things to do and they want to scoot out of here before all that, they sure can. If not, stay, contribute. But I think that's gonna take up the majority of our agenda, so I'd like to save that for last on old business.
Yeah, I have something to add. We had a pump go out, sewage pump go down at the shop, so we have to add sewage pump in new business.
All right, so 7 for chief of police, 5 for airport board, 9 for sewage pump.
Yep.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda with the modifications of flipping 5 and 7. And then adding the new sewage pump to new business number 9.
I'll second that.
All right, we got a motion and a second to approve the modified agenda. Is that clean enough?
Yeah.
All right, we'll move to a vote.
Yes.
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 Okay, motion carries. All right, we're on to old business. Number 1, legal report. Liz?
Good evening, everyone. I'm going to be really quick because I'm pretty excited to hear about the developments on the chief of police side. I'm kind of on the edge of my seat. All I have to share this evening is that tomorrow I'll be having a meeting in the Terraflex matter. As we all know, that's actively in litigation that addresses the Benson Street repairs. That's really a scheduling meeting. There's been another third-party defendant added. That requires the lawyers to scoot around a couple of deadlines. At this point, I think it's somewhat ministerial. I don't think there's any real practical consequence to the city or practical scheduling that you need to be aware of. But if that changes, I'll reserve the right to let you know. Also, I wanted to thank Wendy for new business item number 8 or agenda item number 8, both for her patience and for her drafting. It was a couple of hectic weeks for me. She got it to me. I missed the first email. She reminded me and she executed that quite well. So anyway, that looked great. It's nice to see, I think, a team really developing amongst city personnel, and it's much appreciated. And I think that's all I have for this evening, but I'll keep you all updated in coming weeks.
I think we're back.
I think we are. We
All
froze.
right.
Are we good? Sorry, guys. I didn't want to miss anything.
I think we're good. We froze right up around the point where I was asking the guys if they had anything for you, and they didn't. So we're all good here.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, moving on. Community center update. We got a couple payouts. Mr. Burton.
Well, we have a few things to talk about today. Number one is change order number 15. This is finishing out, the two last change orders are finishing out the subcontractors of the project, so. 15 is for $170,719.
Yeah, 15, not change order 15.
Oh, did I say change order?
You said change order, and I was immediately going to say no.
No, sorry.
Good. Does this one cover the Forte portion of the bill, like the locks, the doors, the security system?
The access control system was separate from our contract, so no, we don't, that's not in our bill.
Okay,
That would be direct with ABI, I believe, or whoever. I think they've got bought out or something. I'm not sure who they are now.
okay, never mind. We're having issues with that, so I wanted to make sure that wasn't in your guys' realm. Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve, the FCI pay app number 15, in the amount of $170,719.
I'll second that.
All right, we got a motion and a second to approve payout number 15. Any discussion on that? Okay, we'll move to a vote.
Yes.
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 Okay, motion carries.
Okay, the next pay request. Number 16 is for $33,660.
Make a motion to approve pay app number 16, in the amount of $33,660.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve pay app number 16. Is there any discussion on that one?
Yeah, what did that one cover? I guess I missed that one.
That was for closing out, that's the month of September. The payout 15 was for August, so it was just whatever the final possibly finish it. That is our final payout though, that 16.
All right, anything else, guys?
No.
All right, we'll move to a vote.
Yes.
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 Okay, motion carries.
One more thing. This one is a change order, but it is a good change order. It is the final contract reduction. And this will credit back to Tioga $648,750.
Was there a credit number or anything associated with that? Or is that you just need a motion to accept the credit?
Motion to accept it and then have you submit it.
Okay,
I'll make a motion to accept the credit, 648,760 for the changeover.
60 or 50?
Change order.
50.
50?
I'm trying to squeeze out an extra $10.
I'll second that.
All right, we got a motion and a second to accept the credit in the amount of $648,750. Any discussion on that one? All right, we will move to a vote.
Yes.
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 Okay, motion carries.
Good.
So,
Need your John Hancock. Just sign two of them. Sign three.
sir. You got one question?
No, yeah, I don't have any questions. I was just gonna kind of close out and say, that'll be our last real update. That's our final bill. All our contracted work is complete. I'll check with the guys and see if there's anything they know of on our end that we need to do or can do to help with the issues with access control. I don't know the details around that right now, but I'll do some follow-up on that anyways. Then yeah, just appreciate the opportunity and let you guys know we're here for you if anything comes up, and hope everybody's enjoying the facility.
It's a beautiful building. Like I said, I got to work there all day Friday and just the noises it makes with all the people using it and a lot of people wondering like, hey, can I do this? Absolutely. Have fun. Do it. Okay, we'll clean up after ourselves and we're done. I'm like, no, I got this. That's what I'm here for. And just the chatter and the noise and the giggles and balls bouncing. And it was really nice to see it being used. I do have one engineering question though. The bleachers and the turf, that whole dynamic, is there anything we can do to improve on that? Because like removing all the turf to extend the bleachers, to bring it back in, and it's quite a chore. So like I was looking at it and I was wondering, can a guy take and cut like the back and side panels to where it would clear the turf and then just create channels to where the only turf that you got to remove is where the casters would roll up and down, rather than tearing out an entire field just
Yeah,
to,
right. I mean, we kind of discussed that. All those,
Discussed most of the options
yeah,
in the committee. And at the time, they didn't want to cut out. They wanted to just remove, I mean, basically remove the panel, section behind the bleachers and, not the whole thing, but that was the last that they approved.
Okay.
But yeah, I see what you're saying, like where the wheels are, just so you don't take all the panels out
Right, rather,
entirely.
because I think there's like 4 casters on each set of bleachers, so just take 4 strips and go that way. Maybe rearrange the turf and make it less labor intensive.
Yeah,
It
let me
might not-
follow up on that.
Might not be as aesthetically pleasing looking at it, but here's what I know is you gotta remove at least 3 rows of turf to get the bleachers, 4, to get the bleachers all the way out. And we're actually not even putting down, like, I think we can fit 2 or 3 more rows for sure. Just because that would be, 7 rows of turf you gotta remove.
The only thing we'd have to check on is if you have the clearance, when you pull it out, you don't peel up all at once behind it, so.
And that's what I was wondering if, because it looks like it's just that, just like a plywood with a, FRP covering on the back of the bleachers that a guy would just be able to, cut a few inches off to clear the turf. So you could go right over the top of it.
I remember discussing this, I just don't remember the reason why it was a problem or a challenge, so I'll get back with you on it.
Okay.
But yeah, I know what you're saying though.
Yeah, we thoroughly discussed that. You won't believe how many different versions and discussions that went in on that.
And I would assume, just based because they are hard casters, you can't swap that whole mechanism out with something pneumatic to where it could just creep over the top. You probably bend up the chassis on it.
One of the things we talked about was ramps, wasn't it?
Well,
We talked about so many different things.
yeah, it's yeah, there's just some challenges with the thickness of the material and trying to get the bleachers to go over the top of it. So,
And you were worried about compaction as well, correct?
yeah, you wouldn't want to have it sitting on top of the turf either, so.
That's right, you were in one of those meetings too.
And those panels that kind of interlock, but I think you can take strips out, but
I think a guy would just have to rearrange it strategically to where, like your main course of turf would be aligned with the casters and then build off that rather than just building a square or a rectangle, Think about it, give us ideas, engineer it out.
All right,
Thank you, Burton.
thank you. I appreciate working with you.
thanks, guys.
All right, moving on to the engineer's report. Scott? You got a win to talk about.
Yeah. Good evening. So softball field relocation project, the Clomer was approved and issued. Long awaited there, so that's good news. I included the documentation that they provided in the packet there. So that project can move forward come spring. I guess the next point would be, getting the contractor on board, bidding the project. Is that it's likely something we'll have to go out for public bids based upon.
It's gonna be over the threshold for sure.
That's been kind of talked about, so.
I know Wendy, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe there was a motion made to approve a bid once upon a time. But it exceeded the threshold for competitive bidding, so I think we gotta course correct and do it the proper way. So yeah, 3 bids. If you could help with that, it would be options. Planting grass, laying sod, artificial turf. Give the community options.
Yeah, and then we'll probably line up a couple of discussions on what all items to include out there, if there's some lighting or I don't know, other miscellaneous things versus just fencing the field. There's other features, I guess, that should be considering to have in there.
We don't wanna outprice us for building something. We just wanna get a field for the
Yep.
kids to play on, right?
Yep.
Is there anything we can do preemptively as far as dirt work? so it can settle over the winter time and compact. Is there, did they have any guidance as far as this is the grade you guys need to maintain based off of what your current grade is? Or is it just kind of you're approved to build?
Yeah, so we had a grading plan, that detailed all the grading out there. That was part of, I guess, that terrain was put into the modeling that was done for the Clomer and everything. So we do have a detailed grading plan for that area.
Okay. Is that something we could look at instead of like an all-inclusive package? Just get the old bladesmith out and get everything to grade. So come next spring, it's ready to rock and roll for install.
I see what Mother Nature does, but yeah, we can check around if there's someone looking for. I mean, it shouldn't be to get it rough graded. Basically, it shouldn't be more than a week.
Right.
I mean, if you had a decent size.
It's cold, but it's warm in a cab and we work in a cold, so.
Yeah.
I think we could probably get at least that far.
Great. Moving on from that, then, the next item I have is related to the fire department. They are looking at an expansion over there to the north of their existing facility. We're helping prepare a site plan for that. So basically, they're gonna extend their building out to about 13 feet or so from the property line. And with that, there was gonna be a little bit of grading to kind of tie in from that. I guess there'll be a drive lane in that last 13 feet between the building and the property line. And there was gonna be a little bit of grading to tie into the sidewalk that's along the back of the Tioga Theater. And we were talking about it and we were like, well, should there be different surfacing there than the current gravel that kind of gets weeds growing in it and stuff? And they suggested, I guess from the discussion, it kind of turned out that they would like to put concrete in between the property line and the sidewalk along the back of the Tioga Theater. So there'd be about a 13-foot wide strip there of concrete on the city of Tioga property there. So I talked with Kyle about it a little bit as well, but wanted to get in front of everyone, make sure there's no concerns or anything there with doing that. So.
Do you have any opinion on it?
No, we spoke prior. I think probably concrete would be the best. Otherwise, you're gonna have a 13-foot section of just, that's only rock. And then you're gonna have weeds and everything else, and it gets disturbed, and then snow removal, and it's kind of a headache. So just concrete and be done with it.
Great. That is all I have this evening.
Okay.
Anything else?
I think so.
Great.
Thanks, John.
Thank you. All right, moving on, number 4, the open position, the length of advertisement for the PD. Wendy, this one, correct me if I'm wrong, we approved the advertisement. We did not set a date for advertisement, correct? Like a length?
Yep.
So guys, we need to set a duration, and that hasn't posted yet, or it has?
It hasn't posted because it has stopped.
Okay, so that would publish the 25th, so here this Saturday. You guys want to cap it, a duration, or leave it until filled? Are we allowed to do that? Can we leave it until filled?
You can leave the position, the hiring deadline open till filled, I think. I mean, you might want to defer to talks with the chief of police. The problem you run into there is, of course, that then you have no way to screen, you know what I mean, and select candidates. I mean, a hard deadline is good for that purpose. I don't think there's a violation, but I guess what I didn't what I'm not clear about, are we talking how long Wendy needs to publish it, or are you talking about the contents of the ad itself?
I think both, right? Yeah, both.
Yeah, I mean, that's Wendy's judgment on how long to publish it is better than mine. I don't know the ins and outs of what that might look like. But I mean, if you want to leave it open till filled, there's nothing wrong with doing that. Other than I could see it maybe being a little bit of a pain in the tail, you know, depending on how the chief wants to manage interviews. But it would be fine. I mean, I think that's just a managerial judgment.
I think we should just do 2 weeks and be done with it. That way we have a date.
2 weeks. What if we don't get a big candidate pool? Say we only get 1 or 2 applicants, and then we put a hard stop, and then other folks want to start applying. Like, I get it. We should have something definitive, but
So Brett, 2 weeks would be November 3rd, and you have another commission meeting that day. So if you chose to extend it for another term, you could always choose to do that.
would it? Like, if it published on the 25th, 2 weeks would be the 8th, which is a number of days after the commission meeting.
I'm
Or would
thinking
we-
2 postings in the paper, yeah, that's what I was thinking, the 25th and the 1st.
Cody, interim chief? Do you have any thoughts on it?
Yeah, I think 2 weeks would be sufficient. We have had a couple of applicants already, just from the initial advertisement of it. So I think, yeah, if you do the 3rd or the 8th, I think we probably would have a decent enough pool to be able to select an officer.
Okay, so 2 weeks, publishes on the 25th, we roll it until November 8th.
Yeah, I make a motion that we hold the advertisement, starting the 25th and ending the 8th, November 8th, for the PD position.
Well, second.
All right, we got a motion and a second to advertise for our open PD position for a term of 2 weeks, starting October 25th and ending November 8th. Okay, any discussion on that? All right, we'll move to a vote.
Yes.
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 Motion carries. Thank you. All right, on to number 5. Our airport board seat position. There wasn't a recommendation to fill that airport board seat at our last meeting. So we need to re-advertise. Do you guys have a duration in mind on how long you'd like to advertise that position for? I don't see Jeff on the call or on the team's roster. We're just gonna kind of have to own this one and decide ourselves. We still have the 2 original letters of interest. My understanding is that we've got a third. I've seen that one. I haven't had a chance to talk with him yet. So we got 3 right now to pick from, so it's up to you guys if you want to wait to see if more come in or make a recommendation based off of the 3 we have.
And skip 5 and 6.
No, we shuffled them. We flipped.
Brett, you already made a motion to advertise again. You just need to decide how long you want to advertise.
Okay.
At the last meeting, you made a motion to.
Make a motion, we advertise for 2 weeks for the airport board 30, starting the 25th, ending the 8th, November 8th.
I'll second.
All right, we got a motion and a second to advertise for the Airport Board Authority seat starting on October 25th, ending November 8th. Any discussion on that?
Just give us a chance to talk to that new person interested and see if anybody else comes in, so couple weeks ain't gonna hurt. Good.
Okay, anything else? Move to a vote?
Yes.
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 Okay, motion carries. All right, on to number 6 in old business, Bros Engineering. You got a pay app as well, Mr. Carabello?
Good evening. Today I bring forward the final pay application for the chip seal project. An amount of $23,284.94. This releases retainage and also pays for the pavement obliterations we were waiting on. It does take into account the Mars invoice you guys have for the vehicle detailing, as well as what their insurance had previously paid out. And so it all amounts to paying about $20,000 under what we were expecting to be on budget. So tonight I'm looking for a motion to approve this and get it signed.
I'll make a motion to approve, Bros Engineering pay app in the amount of $23,284.98.
I'll second.
Hey, we got a motion and a second to approve the Bros Engineering pay app in the amount of $23,284.98. Is there any discussion on that one?
Thank you.
Thank you. Job well done. Okay, we'll move to a vote.
Yes.
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 Okay, motion carries.
Only other thing I have to say is I want to thank you guys for being part of that project. It's always nice when we can get a lot of communities together, and I think it helps really save some money for everyone, ends up with a nice product. And so I want to thank you guys for being a part of it, and hopefully we can count on you guys in the future to continue working with us on these. Thank you.
A lot of really good feedback on that project, so very
Appreciate
well
it.
done.
It's good to know. Thank you.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. Everybody thought we had gravel roads for a while there. They thought that was it. That was the chip sealing. And then once you guys started blasting tar everywhere and on people's cars and campers, people were pretty happy.
Yeah, then drive out for a little bit, you can't tell it apart from the asphalt anymore.
Right, right.
Well, thank you guys.
All right, moving on to number 7. This is the open position for Chief of Police. You guys are probably wondering why I wanted it on the agenda. I'll kind of lay it out there. We've had an interim chief for a number of weeks. I would like to get to the point, being how we put so much time and effort into this. I think we are to the point that I would like to have a path forward. I would like to recommend a candidate, extend an offer, get approval to extend an offer. If that offer is accepted, approval to hire. Go through that process as far as screening and background or whatever is applicable. And then at a later date, do our appointment, because this is an appointed seat. So that's what I wanted to talk about. I know myself and Kyle, we have put in a pile of time into this. And so I don't even know where to start on this. I just hope I find it by the time I finish. It was a tough deal having Chief Nelson resign on us. I mean, he was our local guy. Everybody loved him. He was here for what, 5 years as the chief, longer in the department. It was a tough pill to swallow when he left. And one of the things that we wanted to make sure happened was we carry the baton on what he had built. Obviously, he didn't build it from scratch, but he advanced the baton in a way that we wanted to maintain that progression, right? So we vetted his team of officers. We kind of asked the question on who they thought would make for a good interim chief, just to fill that gap, because obviously you need some form of structure in an interim basis. And everybody kind of had a different story, and I know we're kind of reliving the past, and maybe I don't need to go this far back, but I'm going to anyway. We had one person that absolutely could do the job, but there was some personal factors coming up, that they felt that it probably wouldn't be appropriate to assume that role. We had another person that absolutely could do it, didn't necessarily want to do it long term. We had another that could do it, but had goals and aspirations down the road, and it wasn't that far down the road, so that was a factor. And then we had another person that could do it, but they probably lacked a little confidence in themselves if they could do it or not. So all in, we had a bunch of officers that absolutely could do it, and it turned into a tough decision because when you have that many people that are capable of doing it, but situational awareness and personal factors, the human factor kind of changed that dynamic. So at the time we talked about, I had a pretty strong conviction that Cody could do the job on an interim basis, and we picked him as our interim chief. Fast forward a lot of weeks now, and you're still doing the job. That's not fair to ask you to continue doing the job on an interim basis. So here we are. Now the game has changed again, because after all those things I was telling you about with the existing officer staff, we advertised for the permanent chief of police position. We had a whole bunch of candidates. But then one thing I didn't anticipate was we had a couple internals. Whereas before, when we were vetting for the interim, didn't have really a whole lot of urge to do the job. There was other things involved, and now we got two. So it's a winning situation, right? We got two internal candidates. We've got a lot of external candidates. Boy, we're going to have an easy choice. And it just kept getting harder and harder. We had a goal to pick our top three candidates. Yeah, maybe I'm a little biased. I'm proud of our existing staff and what they've accomplished and what they can do and what they've learned under Josh for these years. So I knew we had that, but we wanted to grab an external to interview as well and just couldn't make it happen. For whatever reason, scheduling an interview with the external just turned difficult. So we focused all of our energy on interviewing our two internals. And they killed it, as expected. They did an awesome job. I mean, we're comparing apples to apples here in my mind, actually. It was kind of funny when we were scoring the interviews, two wildly different types of personalities and answers to all the questions, but I had them scored the exact same. I didn't tally scores up after the first one. I tallied scores up after the second one, and turns out that they were just the exact same. So now it gets really difficult, right? And the reason I say it's difficult is we got two very, very good candidates that are more than equipped to do the job full time for a long time. But how do you pick one? Because some way, some form, you're going to make one person feel like they weren't quite good enough. One was a little better, one not quite there. And that's just not true. Like I said, it's a horse apiece. I think they both can do it. So I started talking to the community. When I signed up to do this, after the community decided that they wanted me to do this, my big thing was I work for the community. I do what they want. This isn't about me. And this is an odd situation because my background has been built around building, developing, maintaining strong teams. I know it's the oil field and it's a little different than government, but at the same time, I mean, that's what I do. That's what I'm good at. And I really do think that the community trusts me to do that, even though my personal life is one thing and this is another. There's a lot of similarities that correlate with each other. And that's, I think, why it's been stressing me out so bad, is I've been so worried about, what do you call it? Not making the right choice when both choices are right. How do you do that? It's tough. So I did a lot of talking to people. I got a lot of feedback, and I just asked simple questions like, hey, what are your priorities for chief of police? What do you think would make for a great chief of police? And what are your X amount of things that you think are the most important for that role? And I actually learned a lot. I learned that a lot of people weren't even aware that Josh resigned back in August. I mean, things are going that smooth that a lot of people thought he was still here, which is cool and also not cool at the same time. A lot of people didn't realize that we don't have a police commissioner. We haven't had one in a very long time. I do challenge the community to throw your hat in the ring. Remember Bob Scarpel, he said, thanks for having the intestinal fortitude to step into the arena. I hope somebody does that because we do need help. This is a task that was kind of thrown on me and Kyle, and we just ran with it because that's our jobs. But again, now we're stressing about whether or not we make the right decision when both choices are the right decision. And I'm rambling, guys. I apologize. I'm going to get somewhere, I promise. So I talked to the community. Some people had different priorities than I have for this role, and that's fine. That's totally normal. A lot of people have the same priorities I have, which is great. It kind of makes me feel like I kind of know what I'm talking about, sort of. So I'm weighing all that. I'm stressing out about it. Kyle's losing sleep. I go, okay, it's go time. With this, this has been going on long enough. We are fine with either candidate. We've just got to make the choice. Again, priorities are one thing. One thing that I will not change ever are my morals. Those stay grounded, no matter what. I'm going to stick to them, no matter what. And the one thing that I cannot shake morally is Cody's been our interim chief for how many weeks? 6 weeks. You stepped up, you did the job, even when maybe you didn't have the confidence yourself. We seen leadership qualities, we ran with it. You've done the job for 6 weeks, and you've done it well. As a matter of fact, you've done it better than I anticipated you doing it. And I could not look you in the face and say, you've done it great, you've done it perfectly. We couldn't have asked for more, but we don't want you to do it long term. And for that reason, my recommendation is that we extend an offer to Cody Colleen for that role. But this is just my recommendation. You guys are the decision makers. You heard a very long reason on how I got here, and I'm comfortable with that.
Well, yeah, it's definitely been hard. It has. We have both great candidates. It's just hard to pick. Who do you pick? The interview process, I mean, both candidates knocked out of the park. They really did. And that it's just, it honestly has been eating me up. It really has. As far as which one to pick, which one is, I mean, they both can do it. That's the hard part. And I'm not gonna lie, I've been stressing about this for a long time. It's not, yeah. So,
I can vouch for that, and that's why we're talking about this tonight. I talked to Kyle a while back, and he said, man, this is eating me up so bad I only slept for an hour last night. Like, we can't keep doing this. And the next thing you know, he's not sleeping again, and then he gets sick, and I'm trying not to contribute everything towards this, but he's been having a tough time, and I look out for my guy, and here we are tonight. So sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you.
But I mean, like I said, we both have fantastic candidates with Joel and Cody. We really do. So it's been a tough process. And I'm honestly right there with Joel, or with Joel. He's been fantastic. He really has. With being community orientated, doing many things around the community, being an awesome cop. Same with Cody. Been an awesome cop. Just both knocking it out of the park. So yeah, with I guess with that said, I would have to agree with Brett as well. With proceeding with Cody Halim or Chief of Police.
And we want your thoughts, Stephen. You're on deck. We want your thoughts as well.
Well, I mean, obviously I didn't sit in for the interviews, because I couldn't, that'd be a quorum, but, it's been eating me up too. It has. It's been eating me up a lot too, because I know the community that their peers have good things to say about them. The community has good things to say about them. We've had, I think everybody's had nothing but pleasant experiences with both candidates. So it really is. It's a tough deal. They interviewed the same. Community feels the same. Good about both candidates. Both good cops. Both good guys. So what do you pick? And the only different factor that we know about the two is that Cody's he's did the job and he's stepped up to the plate, and it's kind of hard. It's hard to deny him that, being that he's stepped in and did such a great job. So I also would have to agree that that Cody probably should be the one to get this promotion. That's how I feel. It's been really hard because things have been, the morale around the city has been really quite good lately. I mean, despite some public comment that you've heard, I feel really pretty good the past few months about how everything's been going and how the team has been working with each other and stuff. So I don't know. I don't want to create that's the tough thing about stuff like this, is we don't want to make somebody feel like they weren't enough, because I mean, we know that both of them could do the job well, but it kind of seems like once a guy has stepped into the role, he probably should be the one that's to get it because he's proven so well. I guess that's my thought.
All right, Stephen, if you have anything, go ahead.
I would have to just agree with everybody there. He's done a fantastic job, Cody has, and I've talked to a few people in the community, and everybody has really just seemed happy with all our officers, honestly, and everybody's just been doing a fantastic job. But one of them has been there now for 6 weeks, and I think that's a good choice to go with. He's been in there doing the job already, and it's been going very smoothly. So I would just have to agree with everybody else.
I don't know, guys. I've done a lot of hiring. I've done a lot of firing over my career. I've built a lot of teams. I've never been in such a good situation that felt so not good. Because you never get to have those two superstars. Like, they're both superstars. I mean, 6 weeks ago, I thought Cody was a rising star. And then I realized that no, not a rising star. He is a star. Same with Joel. Like, you just feel like something so good is gonna have consequence in some form, but you have to make a decision, one way or the other. This can't drag on indefinitely and just hope it all fakes out the right way. Tough choices, tough decisions. I suppose that's why we're here. Okay, so it sounds like that's the direction we want to go. So I would like approval to extend a verbal offer to Cody Helene at a step 0 for the chief of police position. If he accepts the details of the offer, approval to hire. Now, Wendy, you gotta help me. Is that too much all at once? It's a little unconventional.
No, I mean, if he accepts the offer, he'll just sign the conditions of employment. So, I mean, you outlined the steps that he would start at, so it meets all of those requirements.
Okay, so essentially we just need approval to hire at a step 0. I should explain that to you guys. Oh, go ahead, Liz.
I was just gonna say, subject to, I'm with Wendy there, just make sure that, whether you convey that on tonight's record or it's a component of your letter, that is, of course, not that I have any doubt that he will go with flying colors, but subject to the pre-employment conditions, right? I mean, we have those usual and customary drug testing, background, all that good stuff.
I'll make a motion to accept your ask of extending an offer to Cody Allen for the chief of police, starting at step 0, right?
Step 0.
I second that.
All right, we got a motion and a second to approve extending an offer. Get this right.
Sorry, I didn't word it the best.
Motion and a second to approve extending Cody Helene an offer for the chief of police position contingent on
On all the pre-employment stuff,
all pre-employment things.
drug and alcohol testing, background check.
Okay, is there any discussion on that? You guys agree with the step 0? And I'll tell you why I feel that way is this is an opportunity, and regardless of candidate, I think that's the starting point because Josh was at a spot, but that was with 5 years of chief experience at Tioga. I also know that there is a want to fully staff up the PD again. Like, a lot of people don't know that we're running really short right now. They think we've got 6 officers patrolling all the time, and we don't. I think we need to, and it's got to be community based. Like, what does the community want? Do they want 24/7 coverage? Well, if they want 24/7 coverage, that's going to take X amount of head count. I know to get to that X amount of head count, we've got to be very careful with our budget. So where we're at with the chief affords flexibility long term. Also, it right sizes the level of experience going into a role like this. So that's the reason for recommending a step zero. All right, so
No, I agree with step zero.
okay, we got a motion and a second. Any other discussion on that? Steven, you good?
Yeah, I'm in full agreement.
Okay, we'll move to a vote.
Yes.
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 The motion carries. New business number 8, we got a banking resolution. Wendy, Liz, correct me if I'm wrong. I gotta read this whole thing, huh?
You do. I can read it for you too if you want me to read it fast, but if you're handy and you have it in front of you, that's fine too. But yes, it's a resolution. It need be read into the record.
If you want to read fast, I'm gonna let you have it.
All right, I'll hustle. This is resolution number 2025-02. It's agenda item number 8. The date is October 20th, 2025. Be it resolved by the City Commission of the City of Tioga, Williams County, North Dakota. Herein sets forth a resolution to modify signature cards for the City of Tioga bank accounts, whereas the City of Tioga, Williams County, North Dakota is a municipal corporation organized and existing under the laws of the state of North Dakota, whereas in light of recent personnel changes within the office of the city auditor, which necessarily caused a review of existing signers, signature cards, and account agreements pertaining to all city bank accounts, and whereas in order to facilitate the orderly processing of City of Tioga business, the Office of the City Auditor has requested that the following named individuals be designated/listed as signers on all accounts held at the following identified financial institutions for all city accounts at Bank of Tioga, except the municipal court accounts. The authorized signers shall be Wendy Lenzen, City Auditor, Desiree Hanson, Deputy Auditor, Brenda Rohde, Deputy Auditor, and Chanel Ramsey, Deputy Auditor. For the municipal court accounts at the Bank of Tioga, the authorized signers shall be Wendy Lenzen, City Auditor, and Darcy Groschi. For all city accounts at First State Bank and Trust, authorized signers shall be Wendy Lenzen, City Auditor, Desiree Hanson, Deputy Auditor, Brenda Rohde, Deputy Auditor, Chanel Ramsey, Deputy Auditor. Whereas it is further resolved that the City of Commission President Brett Renitz and Finance Commissioner Jaden Iverson shall be afforded appropriate third-party access agreement or similar arrangement, which shall allow said commission members to review bank statements, account transactions, account information, balances, and the like, but which shall not permit the said commission members to transfer funds, sign checks, or draw out or deposit funds, or otherwise transact business on such accounts at both of the above named institutions. Such access agreement may include either in-person or online access to such materials for review. In addition to the foregoing, Commission President Brett Renitz shall have a third-party access and review agreement of the same nature for any city account relating to the city's municipal court accounts and/or accounts designated for use by the city's police department in light of the present vacancy for the police commissioner. This resolution will be supplemented for third-party account access and agreements for a new police commissioner when such vacancy is ultimately filled and known to the commission. Filled and known to the commission. Now, therefore, the City Commission approves adding Brenda Rohde, Deputy Auditor, to the City of Tioga bank accounts as indicated in the above named signers, third-party access review agreements, and the removal of signers as set forth herein. There's a proposed moved, seconded, and then the certificate, which Wendy will complete if authorized.
All right, so guys, if you like it, if it looks good, we'll need a motion and a second for resolution 2025-02.
I'll make a motion to approve bank resolution
2025-02.
2025-02.
I'll second that.
Okay, we got a motion and a second to approve resolution 2025-02. Any discussion on that? We'll move to a vote.
Yes.
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 Okay, motion carries. Liz, thank you very, very much for reading that.
You're welcome.
Okay, moving on, new business number 9. Kyle, this is yours, the sewer pump.
Yeah, I got a phone call from Kirk Odegaard today regarding, so at the city shop down south, there's a little, for all the sewer water. There's a little lift pump right there. That lift pump went out. Kirk made a few phone calls and, North Dakota Sewage Pump and Lift Station out of West Fargo. They're the folks that normally do our lift station pump, maintenance around here. He did get a quote, from them. So the pump itself is $3,600. We can go a route of getting a different pump, then we have to get different assembly, different guide rails, excuse me. So on and so forth, so it's gonna be over the $3,600. So I said, let's just get a quote for this, Liberty pump and with a float, for that. And then with their ballparking, their service call, because they don't quite know if they have to bring a few more fittings and so on and so forth. But that's $4,300. So grand total, $7,900 total. But I would like to make a motion not to exceed, $8,000 even. That way there's a little wiggle room if they need to get a few more parts or fittings, to replace that.
I'll second.
All right, we got a motion and a second to approve the quote for this, what do you want to call it, sewer pump repair? Okay, not to exceed $8,000. Any discussion on that?
I mean, that's not a bad idea, as far as installing. I don't quite know the whole process of the installation. I do know the pumps down at the bottom, of course. So I don't quite know what that would look like if we would install it per se.
When they're doing it this time, they got to look and see how much it would take. 'Cause a lot of times you, I want the wires to pull it up. Well, like this is, but it might save you a lot of money from traveling if you do it yourself.
Right,
So I'll try to coordinate it to where I'm off that time and then I can watch them and see. And maybe we can figure something out and go that route and get a spare pump so we have one on hand. Right now, we don't have one on hand.
all right, we'll move to a vote.
Yes.
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 Okay, motion carries. All right, on to the consent agenda. We've got bills for October. Is that second, Wendy? Or
Yeah,
two?
second.
Okay. Payroll for October 20th, the September financials, a Tioga Fund, food pantry, 4 planning and zoning items. There was a final plat for the Tioga High School, preliminary and final plat for the Hamilton Homes, conditional use saltwater disposal for Murex Petroleum, and conditional use 6-well pad for Murex Petroleum. So if you're in agreement with all of it, we'll need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second that.
All right, we got a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Any discussion on any of those items? We'll move to a vote.
Yes.
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 A motion carries. And lastly, public comment. Does anybody have anything they want to talk about related to the agenda or anything we've talked about today? Sir, come on up.
Well, we should talk
Bring the mic back here. Tom.
That microphone doesn't work. If you turn it on, it's just static like crazy, so I'm sorry about that.
I'll try to talk loud.
There you go.
So, one thing I'd like to say to all you guys are, and I've talked to a lot of people and in the coffee shop we have at the store, and everybody's really bragging about how you guys are running this city. What I mean by that is you guys are paying down a lot of our debt and looking after the best thing for the city, because for the longest time, we were spending a lot of money. And we were living on dangerous times, and right now, oil prices are getting way down. North Dakota crude sitting there at $45 a barrel, 46, something like that. If it keeps dipping down, I know you guys, it's not gonna be good for, the city of Tioga or a lot of big cities, you know what I mean? And I think a lot of people would like to show their appreciation to the board, what you guys have done and what the auditor's done. And all this stuff that's Facebook and all that stuff, that a lot of that stuff, it needs to be brought right up to the podium. You got something to say, don't be cheap shotting anybody, over Facebook. That really makes me upset when you guys are looking after the city, doing what's best for them and trying to save this city money. And the bottom line, trying to save the city, because if these oil prices keep dropping the way they are, we all know we're in trouble. And I don't think, there's a lot of people that still want this and that, but the hard line is you've got to start tightening your belt, and we all appreciate what you guys have tried to accomplish, all of you. And I'll leave it at that, and that's all I got to say. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
I'll second what you just said.
Yeah.
You did a good job.
Yes, Kyle with, Aaron, Kyle with Better, thank you for letting us, the business done over here. Should benefit the city eventually. If anybody has any questions or concerns ongoing over developing these assets, you can reach out to me at the office at Murex or also Carrie Lungy.
Okay. Well, thank you for being here. We're always asking people to show up. It's normally our meetings, there's a pretty light crowd out here. And I don't know, me personally, I'm way more comfortable when those seats are full, because that was kind of my MO, was we work for the community, but how do you know what the community wants unless they tell you what to do, right? I got a lot of bosses in town, and it's tough to have to reach out to them to get their direction. It'd be nice if people just kind of showed up and told us what they wanted us to do. It'd make our jobs a lot easier, for me anyway. I don't know if you guys agree with that, but like having people here. Thank you for being here.
One thing I'd like to add to that statement by saying, watching over the city and watching over the oil and all this stuff. You say it's hard to hire somebody. Wait till you have to start firing people because we have no money. That's when it's going to get tough. And anybody that worked in the oil field any time at all, they know both ends, because we've been living good times for way too long. And when this bad stuff comes, it gets tough. And now we're losing a whole bunch of Hess employees, with Chevron laying off. Who knows where it's gonna end, right? So again, I'd like to thank you.
I agree, Brett, too. I would please encourage anybody that wants to know what's going on in the city, because these meetings have been pretty quiet, and like just going out for the PD and trying to feel people out for paint. It doesn't really seem like a lot of the public does know what's going on. So please be engaged. Especially with all the negative talk. I mean, if we're doing something wrong, or you wanna know something, or, you gotta come to a meeting. Come to a meeting, or we need to have a public meeting, one or the other. I know we've tossed around that idea before, and we still need to, as far as like, what the community wants for projects and this and that, and, I think it might be a good idea to, we've talked about it a couple times, but maybe it's time to do it, and, have another public comment session on it. Like, if we're stepping out of line or doing something wrong, I'd like a chance to hear some opinions on it. So,
One thing I'd say is, when you guys took over the board here, we had to make tough decisions to shut down some of these projects and to try to start paying all this stuff down. And without them tough decisions that you have been made already and did already, just think how many debts you've already paid down since you've taken over the last months. And you should all be proud of that. And the city of Tioga, anybody that knows it, they all appreciate it, but anybody that doesn't know it, they should be really thanking all of you.
anything else? I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All right, we got a motion and a second to adjourn. We'll move to a vote.
Yes.
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 Okay, motion carries and we are adjourned at 8:16 PM.
Thanks, gentlemen.